Hey there, guys. Greg T with BNI Alberta South, your area director for the communications and marketing side of in our region. What I like to do, we're just doing a quick tutorial video or a quick overview video on how to use the slides within your chapter folders that have been supplied and given to you. This is something that's made available to all of the each LET and communications coordinator from every chapter. The LET can probably access the folders via their chapter dashboard. And the reason for this tutorial is to make it easier for you to prepare and change and share the presentations that you are doing on, at your online weekly meetings. We're doing this just because there has been just some concern as far as the size of the presentations and how best to share and how to make it more easier, and also with the changes that are occurring on a regular basis or a semi-regular basis because of the fluidity of our situation that we're in. Global does issue some alterations and changes to slides. This way we can make sure that these things are made available to you regularly. Now, it may be that we send you a link to BNI University and you can download those things. We'll make sure that that's pumped out to you as far as notices are concerned, but we'll just kind of show you the system on how to make it easy to work with. So without further ado, let's kind of show you how to use the slides in the folders to make it easier to work with and share. So immediately what happened is I'm going to show you, prior to doing this recording, I have created a fake account so that we can utilize this the Google login to show you that it doesn't have to be tied to a paid account. I know myself, I have a paid account, and of course the region has one as well, and I can access accordingly both ways, but I've used one account that is a new account that is not tied to anything that's paid, just so you can see that these things are, it's still something that you can utilize and use well in your with your systems. So I've also copied, or if you will, taken the link that was sent to me so that I can show you how to access and show the slides that you're looking at, or the folders that we're looking for. So immediately what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the top here, I'm going to paste the link that was sent, okay, and I'm going to hit enter. Now what we do is we immediately have a view of, and I'm using a BNI Optimum, my home chapter, as an example. So we have a view of all the different files and stuff that are available to your chapter through the chapter folder. Now these are all branded according to the current branding guides, branding, I guess approved branding guides that are set up right now for BNI. I say branding guides, I'm looking at the guidelines booklet here. But realistically, this is going to be changing. Very likely it was initially scheduled for May 15th of this year. Maybe the 15th, 17th, I heard possibly a little bit of a shift, but point being is a lot of these files will change. We will change them for you. They'll be made accessible for you in this folder when ready. Now, to be real, most of these files are not for use necessarily as much online, but a lot of the stuff for when you're using things with your in-person meetings once we get back to that. So we will have these updated for you. Don't worry about that. But today we're going to deal mainly with the weekly slide decks. So as you notice, I'm still not signed in. If you look at the top right hand of the video here, still not signed in. And the reason we've done that is I want to show you how to access the weekly slide decks. I'm going to show you what happens before you slide in. So let's click on there. There's our weekly slides. Default. There's no way to access and do any changes. That's kind of the point with that. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to sign in. And I'm going to use the sample one that we just set up. And I'm going to use my saved one using my fingerprint with my computer, but otherwise I would type in my password. And that now logs us in. You'll see the G in the top right hand corner. Now when we go to the weekly slide deck, now we have to double click. Double click on the weekly slides. You notice it opens up and we now have the ability to open with Google Slides at the top. That's how we go into edit. Now, as a preface to anything that we're going to do here, I'm going to show you here that we currently have only I guess a small number of slide decks here available. There's the ones that are available for you for when you are doing our live. We have our online one, of course, that I just showed you, and then a member scroll that can be used. Now that can be done. We like this to keep as simple and as non-polluted as possible. So the recommendations I'm going to give you within this video are to do your recordings, okay, or sorry, do your slide deck and customizing them. And keep the weekly slide deck main one that we've put in here as the standard go-to. if and when there are changes that are handed to us from global, because that can happen, as I said, they could be made readily available to you through BNI University. You can then download them and you can import the slides that you need or the entire slide deck into here, and only import the slides you need. And I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start first. We're going to open the weekly slide deck, and this is a general template. We're going to open it with Google Slides. Now, once that's open in Google Slides, it's going to have all of the different slides now available to us right from start to finish in our presentation. Most of you have seen this or have used this already. Now, I'm going to go to File. I'm going to make a copy, the entire presentation, and I'm going to call this BNI Optimum Weekly Template. And we're going to use that. Now, you notice it's going to stay in the weekly slide decks. That's where we're going to want it to stay, so I'm going to leave that there. And done. Click OK. And what that does is it does a full copy of that slide deck. So we're going to utilize a grand total of 2 of the same slide decks in our folder so that we don't inundate the whole thing with a lot of files that aren't needed, and we don't just fill up the space that's been set up through our Google Drive or our G Suite account. Now, that does take a moment there, so don't worry. That's quite normal. And let's be real, with this day and age, with the things going on, the internet is a lot more taxed. So I've been noticing some dramatic slowdowns at sometimes. But we'll try refreshing the page, of course. We'll do that there. And I'm kind of glad some of this is happening while I've been doing this video, so you can see that this does happen. It's nothing to be too concerned about. Other than the fact that there's going to be some delays and some issues that are happening. So there we go. Once it refreshed, there's this whole slide deck shows up again. It does say BNI Optimum Weekly Template. And as I scroll down, you can see all of these slides are still available. Now I'm going to go back to the slides. Sorry, that's the folder. And you notice that the Optimum Weekly Template shows up there now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say keep the weekly slides, the initial template, set there as one that you can go to in case you have any problems with the ones that you've altered. Now, the ones you've altered, which is the one we just created, I'll show you how to do that. Let's just say you want to go in and you want to remove some pictures, okay? Or let's say you want to add some pictures. Well, that's where we encourage you to, I guess, customize to a certain extent as far as for your chapter culture. Yes, we do have to keep the BNI branding in mind and take that into consideration. Now, that said, there we go. We'll kind of put this here. Obviously, you wouldn't use this for our check-in, but actually I'll create one and throw that one in there for you, for everybody. So after this, you'll see one that's already there. But the whole point is, this is how you can do this. Now, we want to keep the BNI branding as it is. The BNI brand overall is something that communications coordinators are taught or shown through the training that we give them or is made available to them. So we would like you to keep that consistent so that we have a good a very solid presentation that we're giving to our guests and members. It's a professional approach that we're looking at this, and we want to keep things very, very tight and professional. We are a professional organization, and you as a member are a part of that organization, so that's an awesome place to be, trust me. So this gives you the quick overview as far as what to change some things. We go in, we add all the different things we need to. Now, very likely, their members of our chapters have already done this. Okay, you've already added your chapter vision and mission statement, or whatever right here. You've already gone in and made some of the changes to, I guess some of your leaders as far as adding pictures to them. Please, you can import those slides. That's okay, and I'll show you how to import slides, especially, also with the feature presentations for the members each week. I'll show you quickly how to do that. You'll notice here that up in the top here, it shows that this is a Microsoft PowerPoint format. This is done because Bartek and his team have very nicely and wonderfully created, if you scroll down here, they've created a 30, 45, and 60-second timers that we can use for our chapters, whichever is suitable and fits for what your chapter uses. At this point, I have 2 of them hidden in this particular instance. We can, I'm right-clicking and saying remove skip slide. And the reason we have this here is that this is available, and this is why we say to keep the 2, the original template and the ones you're using for your chapter each week, is that if something changes, you can change this timer. Now, what we'd recommend, though, is that when it comes to adding all the different members for your chapter into these sections, that you go in and duplicate the slide and then add the next person and continue that way. if you can, take this section here, take the timer out and without losing the scripting, please, by all means do, okay? Have no problem with that. But it's just easier, and there are instructions here as far as duplicating with each member name, so on and so forth, because it will keep the different timers, okay? That's why we say to duplicate it. It just keeps the scripting ready for you. So that's the idea. It's just to make this so we have the nice timers available on screen to make life easier for our presenters each week. Now here, what I'm going to do as far as deleting any kind of the slides, we just simply select the slide and delete. Done. Now I'm going to show you the importing really quickly. So here we are, we have a feature speaker. I'm going to go down into here, into File, Import Slides. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an upload, and I'm going to find a file here. So what I'm going to do is go to our old branding file, and I'm just going to click, let's go our shoot for the moon stuff. Going to the moon, here we go. So I'm importing those slides. Now what that will do is it'll upload all those slides, and it will show us a visual representation of all of the different slides that we have made available to us with this import. Okay. Now if it's our feature presenter, of course, they would have created their own slides. No problem. You can just select all and go from there. Okay, so we can go here and select all. I'm going to say select none at this point because I'm only going to import a few slides just for timing. So I'm going to click, just kind of some random ones. I'm kind of doing a command click here, so I only select what do you hear? 6 individual ones, separate ones. So we have that there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, note the check mark here for keep original theme. If somebody has sent you the slides to add to the presentation for when they're doing their feature, you'll want to keep the original theme. Try to do that on a regular basis because then it can make sure that the slides that they have sent you are going to be the same virtually as what they prepared for you. So it's important to keep that one there. So I'm going to click Import Slides, and you watch what happens. It's going to take those 6 that we just selected, and immediately after the feature presenter. So as we go down, they can start their talk, and there it goes. Flows really nicely until we get to the end, and then goes to our next feature speaker, which is great. And that pretty much gives you the whole thing. Now, when you go and change that each week, I'd go in, select them all, delete the previous ones, and add the new ones. And just do that on a weekly basis. Make your changes to your leaders each week, your most visitors, your most CEUs, most one-to-ones, most referrals, most thank you for closed business. If you've got new and renewing members, great. If that's something that's not happening, go in there, skip the slide, and that will not show up in the presentation. So when we actually go to the presentation, you'll be able to see that. Now, there have been some questions as far as how to do a presentation. Both in Zoom and RingCentral is very similar. Please, if you need some help or some input on how to do your presentation, ask us for that link. We'll get that sent to you. The reason being is there is a specific order to follow that in so that you can have your presentation tools available to you, such as your notes and whatnot. Now, there's many different ways of doing it, and the difficulty that can happen here, of course, is that we have different people that are the people who are in charge or hosting the meeting, and you want to make this so it's readily available for everybody. There are some challenges, but there are workarounds, and we'll discuss that. We can discuss that in a future video should you need. Secondly, or lastly, I guess, once the person who is putting the slide presentation together has completed that presentation, everything's all set, it has to be shared with the person who is going to be using or being the host of the presentation. Ideally, that should be the president. They should already have access to the folder. If not, you can use the share button. So you have someone subbing in for the president. You can use the share and add their email address here. Okay, and then all you have to do is click done. They will get that emailed. Okay, you can also go into the advanced section here, click this link here and share it from there. Okay, share the actual link and they'll be able to access. This has been set up so that you can share the link just in case there is somebody that has to sub in. I'm going to ask though for 2 things that are very important. 1, you do not change the settings. It's because we need this to be accessible by the chapter as needed. But 2, and most important, you do not take this link and send it out to anybody to do whatever they want with. They can do a lot of damage to this folder, plain and simple. And right now we have it set to only people who have it shared with. And we've done this and relaxed the permissions to a certain extent, just to make it easier for our chapters. We may have to change it so that only people in BNI Alberta South have the link, or only specific people. And should that be the case, sharing the link will not work. Now, this may change even from an administrative standpoint. I'll be honest, I'm recording this video for everybody prior to Bartek and his team having a look at that. We may need to change that, and I may alter the video from there. If not, we just ask that you keep it safe and don't share this with people that shouldn't. And once you've anyway got that there, you can send that to the person that needs the presentation, or as I say, the LET. Whoops, the LET can actually go in here and access it according to the fact that they have access to that folder. So that's it. That's Greg T. From BNI Alberta South, your area director for the marketing communication side of things. If you have any questions, please reach out. Here's the email. And you know what, guys, to your success on these things. I hope you're doing well. If you've got any needs, anything that you're struggling with, please reach out to your ambassador or director consultant. They are there to help you. You know, that goes with the communicating anything that can help us with getting things out there better to you. And ultimately, we're in this together, and our focus now is what can we do to support and help you guys. This is why we're doing this video, and if there's more we can do, please reach out. Take care, stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.